Hello friends, my name is Tom Thibodeau, and together with my friend and colleague Emilio, we are creating Viterbo's first servant leadership YouTube channel. What we hope to do is to inform and inspire, engage and encourage you in the good work you are engaged in serving and leading. Today's topic is listening. Listen has the same letters as the word silent. Robert Greenleaf, the founder of servant leadership, honored silence when he would say, "I try not to speak unless I can improve upon the silence." How many times have you found yourself, I know I have, speaking too much and listening too little? My father was a very quiet man, even though he was very eloquent as he stood before judge and jury. He was an attorney, but he was a very fine listener. And someone asked him about that, and he said, "You never have to take back anything you listen to." Listen. Listen. The greatest gift we give to another human being is 100% of our attention. Listening, therefore, is an act of love. It's putting aside my distractions, it's putting aside my internal conversations, and paying attention to the person who is speaking, to the person who's in my presence, hoping for someone just to listen. And when we listen, three things take place. Number one, listening calls us forth. If somebody comes up and says, "Emilio, do you got a minute?" What is that person asking? Get comfortable. We're going to be here for a while. And isn't it amazing when you just stop and you listen, how people tell you things that you weren't expecting? Teenagers had a phrase, "Oh, TMI, too much information." How many times in your professional life have you just stopped and listened and you learned so much more about the person who needed to be known, who needed to reveal who they were and what they were experiencing at that moment? Parents who put their children to bed and the child doesn't want to be left alone continues to find topics to talk about because they have the listening ear of the person who loves them most. Second, listening changes us. If what Emilio believes is different than what I believe, but if I sat down and really listened to Emilio, I can be changed in the process. Isn't it extraordinary? Isn't it extraordinary that in the process of listening, my heart can be changed? How many times have you changed your perspective of another person once you listened to their life story well? You had no idea the hard traveling that they had, the trauma they may have experienced, but you listened and your perceptions were changed. Isn't it extraordinary in our country today how we refuse to listen to people who have a different point of view? In politics, if a Republican talks to a Democrat, they're punished, and if a Democrat talks to a Republican, they're punished, rather than bringing people together for a greater good and in that process to be changed. And finally, in listening, we feel it in our bodies. When's the last time your body has been wrong? Isn't it interesting? Words actually change the brain. The way in which we speak to each other, the language that we speak, changes the chemical reaction within our brains. When we listen to other people, we are changed. Wonderful little line that I love to repeat. Even though a lie detector test cannot be used in the court of law, isn't it nice to know that something in our physiology changes when we do not tell the truth? Listen. Listen. A young boy, 15, was riding on his bicycle a number of years ago and was hit by a car and had an extreme head injury that put him into a coma. They brought the young man into emergency, then up to neurology, and there he was laying in a coma, and after 2 days they decided they needed to do brain surgery because his brain had swelled and they needed to relieve the pressure. They did the surgery, and 2 days after the surgery, the surgeon came in standing next to the nurse and says, "This kid's a vegetable, he'll never move." And then the doctor left. This was many years ago when people didn't realize that the first sense program into the brain is sound, the last to leave is sound. This nurse understood, and she sat down, she took the boy's hand, stroked his face and said, "I am here. And when you are ready, you will come back to life, and you will move, and you will walk, and you will dance." And for the next 2 weeks, she came in each and every day and took his hands and sat next to him and stroked his face and said, "I am here and I love you. When you're ready, come back to life, and you will move, and you will walk, and you will dance." After 14 days, there was slight eye movement, and thus began a long period of rehabilitation. The woman was a nurse for 30 years, and when she was going to retire, her family and friends had a party, and she was greeting people, saying thank you and their goodbyes. And a gentleman walks up to her, took her hand, smiled and said, "I am here, and I love you. You told me that I would move, and I would walk, and I would dance. That physician came in and said I was a vegetable and I'd never move. I decided right then and there I'd never move for him. But you called me back to life. Would you like to dance?" Friends, how many times have you called other people back to life because you took the time to listen? Until next time, peace and all good.